Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're looking at a quick little diversionary type runaway game called Dark Run. I'm not sure exactly how to classify that, but you're going to see in just a moment. So let's enter our name real quick. And that's just in case I can get on the leaderboards. I'll be very lucky if I can, but I doubt it. So when I hit start, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to end up running for my life from a wall of death and debauchery that is going to consume my soul. And I'll be running through randomly generated castles full of monsters to just try and last as long as I can. And that's really all that happens. And you just try and do that as much as possible to get as far as possible, beat your scores, and hopefully get on the leaderboards. Let's try it. I'll be honest, I played the crap out of this already. I've been probably through about 50 games of this, and I still haven't made it in the top 100. I'm trying real hard, though. Oh, okay, that was just poor luck. Occasionally you get a really crappy run like that. It's randomly generated, like I said, so the rooms don't always make perfect sense how they line up. But your job is to very quickly look around and try and parse a way through and avoid all the enemies and avoid the wall of death and avoid the spikes and try not to get hung up on stuff. The enemies will come after you, though. Like, a lot of them will chase you through all the rooms. And as you go, you'll notice when my counter starts to get close to 300, the wall seems to go way faster than it did a second ago. Yeah, and that's usually about where I lose. It's pretty freaking epic, though. Like, if you can play this really well, it's quite entertaining. And I had no idea that this was even going to be fun. Like, when I started this up, I was like, this kind of looks, not that great. But after playing it twice, like a couple of times just to get a feel for it, totally addicted to it, and I didn't stop playing it for like a half an hour. So occasionally a game like that just needs to be mentioned, and I'd like to bring a little bit of exposure. Yeah, you can just straight up die to all the environmental hazards before the wall of death catches up with you. I'm not sure how long I'm going to play this for, but hopefully give you a chance to see all the enemy types. Wow, that was kind of a crappy trap. The sound effects, I have to say, are hilarious in kind of a corny, cheesy way. Like, I can tell they're obviously just the developer making silly sounds into a microphone. And that's fine. You don't really have to have more than that. I just was kind of taken back by, like, I thought that was just funny. And the music, by the way, this piano track that's playing is quite good, actually. It's, like, really good. It's haunting, it's atmospheric, it sets the tone well. It makes you want to play it. So, props on that. It reminds me a lot of the dungeon music from, like, Zelda Link to the Past. Oh, okay, I'm having an okay run on this one. Let's see if I can go, maybe beat my high score. Yeah! Alright, I gotta get 600 something to get on the leaderboard. Oh, man. It's not gonna happen. 492 is pretty good, though. I beat my high score by a bunch on that one. So what are all these enemies? So there's like bats, there's these guys that look like tanks from Left 4 Dead, there are, well, obviously the spikes, there's these slime pools, which I'm not sure are actually enemies. Yeah, I guess they are. I wasn't sure if they move or what. There's these squiddy kind of octopus red things that'll chase the crap out of you. There's those. I don't even know what to call them. They sound like a hyena or something when they first find you. Obviously, there's the wall of death, because that's kind of the point. I really like how it takes those corners. It's like it finds the most even-keeled way to turn. Ah, see, I just went the wrong way that time. Looks like my high scores are improving. That's good. For a while, I was barely able to beat 300. It was like I was just having a run of really terrible luck. So, I mean, the interesting dynamic here is how far can you see, and how do you pull some sort of pathfinding out of that? And, like, what kind of clues can you take by, like, observing your environment as quickly as possible? I find that what works for me is I do sort of a wavery path, sort of like a la Geometry Wars. Oh, man, that's a rough spot right there. And the idea being that as I waver back and forth, I'm seeing slightly more of the level just by doing that, although it's probably slowing me down like an infinitesimally small amount. I did map this to my analog stick on the 360. I mean, it's just arrow keys, so super simple controls. And I think I was like 80% more effective as soon as I started using the controller. That's up to you guys, whatever you're more comfortable with, of course. This doesn't natively support controllers. I use Joy to Key, as I always do, and as I absolutely highly recommend that all of you fans out there go get. If you don't have Joy to Key by now, you're missing out. Yeah, the sound effects on those squid things are hilarious. They go, nom nom. Alright, I think I actually have a chance to maybe get on the leaderboards. I would really like that if I could do that in this video. I would show them off, but then that's going to mess up the box that I have set up for this recording, because I'm using Camtasia for this one to capture the web browser. This is a browser-based game, I mean, as you may or may not be able to tell by the branding on it. So, yeah, you don't even need to download anything for this one. Just hop on over to this site, give it about 30 seconds to load, and you're good to go. And then you've got potentially hours of running away from walls of death. It's always an entertaining thing. Oh, 2 of them? Ugh, what a way to screw that run. And you don't have to wait at all. You just go. Like, as soon as it's over, all it wants you to do is hit an arrow key to start up again. So, yeah, just start running and you just go. So you can pretty much trap yourself in an infinite loop of playing this game for hours. At least I would assume for hours if you're that patient. Because you always feel like you're right on the verge of doing better, but then it's like, it's randomly generated, so you have no idea if you're going to do better or not. I have no idea how I'm able to commentate so quickly when I'm playing this. Like, when I first started this, I was like, man, I want to do a video for this, but I have no idea how I'm going to talk and play this at the same time. Because it requires your absolute full attention, in one way. But in another way, if you can, like, use your... Oh, jeez. I got a high score without getting the high score. It says 486 versus 492. But yeah, if you can devote your lower brain to just looking for gaps in these gray walls, like, at least you know it's always uniform. It's going to look the same in every spot. Unless you get one of those weird, like, glitchy-looking areas where the walls don't line up right, which you'll see of it. Oh. Yeah. So I guess I found a way to tap into my reptilian lower brain. Yeah, that was one of those spots where you see the wall you could sort of see through it. It's not often that they butt up against each other like that, but when they do, it can be a little confusing. And you have no way of knowing which side the exit is going to be on each room, so you just have to sort of hope that you pick the right direction when you go in. Or that you can, like, see ahead a little bit. Man, that thing messed me up. I don't even know what to call those yellow dudes. They're like leapers or something. Nom 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 nom. Wow, a lot of enemies in this. Occasionally you get a pretty lucky run where you get very few. And I think, if you're really lucky, you can actually use the spikes to your advantage. Like, they're not instant death. You can smack into them a couple times. And if you're getting nommed on by that red thing, the squiddy looking guy, he will, usually I think he'll dislodge. Uh-oh. Tank! Kill it with fire. No! Thing totally just trapped me in the corner. I don't even want to stop playing this. I really love this music. I gotta say, like, I would... If there was more to this, like a whole soundtrack, I would probably listen to it. Oh, I think there's like a really subtle, like, rapid heartbeat that happens when you get hit a lot. Man, how long are you supposed to last through this? I can't imagine playing this for more than like 30 seconds to a minute at tops. And the pacing of it is so well done, like, it's super fast. The controls are like, they're kind of loose, but in a way they're actually pretty much just the way I would want them to be. Because it gives it a little bit more of a frantic feeling, and I don't think this would control well on a D-pad, to be honest. I think an analog stick is the way to go. Because you need that, like, ability to pivot on the side of your thumb really quickly, and, like, the D-pad, it's too digital, like, it's too one way or the other, you know? So I think the analog stick is really the best way to control this, but that's my opinion again. Up to you guys. Try it out with whatever you want. Maybe you can play it with Kinect somehow. Probably not. Ah! I won't say that this game is scary, but there are moments when I do get surprised a little bit by just how much chaos can ensue. those piles of enemies can definitely be a problem sometimes. Although, not nearly to the degree that those octopus guys are. I keep calling them a different name every time. The red dude. They're pretty much the bane, like, of my existence. They're the worst enemy that I think I've run into. I don't know if there's more than that. Like, maybe if you play it long enough. No. I think we got enough types, to be honest, but, you know, it's always good to mix it up. Go, go, go. Push it to the limit. Ah! I know, whenever I see that guy, I'm like, I'm in trouble. If I can't just navigate right around him, which I barely ever do. It's nice you can actually hear the wall of death taking down the enemies, because they make like a nice 8-bit retro kind of sound when they explode. Oh, yeah, I guess it's sort of like the witch in Left 4 Dead. Like, if you avoid their radius, like, for aggro, I guess they don't bother you. That's what that circle's about, if you were wondering. It'd be kind of cool if there were, like, power-ups and, like, just little bits of stuff. Or maybe, like, a leveling system, like, if you beat certain distances. Or just, you know, you die so many times. Something like maybe Super Crate Box. You know, you play it so long, it gives you slightly bigger radius to see. Or, I don't know, something like that. Ability to not take... get stunned as easily, or... ability to, like, rush through stuff, like, shoulder charge through stuff. I mean, this could be, like, a separate game mode that allows these power-ups, because clearly this version of it is quite well polished, and I don't think it really needs to be improved much, but, like, if the developer wanted to add more, that's what I would do. And, of course, little unlockables, like ability to customize your silly character. I mean, not that that matters, you're just gonna die over and over again, but, like, to give him colors or a hat. Everybody loves hats. And everybody knows that by now. But yeah, I would really like to know, like, how much better at this game I would be if I could just see ahead further. Like, take the darkness element out of it and just have it be about, like, how smoothly can you navigate through these gates. Because eventually, the wall of death speeds up to the point where it's like, it's running pretty much exactly as fast as you are. So if you don't make your way straight out through each room, you're screwed. Insta-screwed. I'll coin that term, why not? Well, I was expecting this to be an extremely short episode, but it turns out addiction kicked in again. And somehow I found enough things to talk about here that this stayed interesting. I think it stayed interesting. I guess that's up to you guys to decide. I feel like it is. It's crazy. Sometimes a game, like, all it needs to be is simple, and it'll just take you over. Like, you don't need to think about it, you don't need to worry about it, it's just what it is, and it's good. You know, you don't always have to have these huge, crazy, ambitious aspirations when you're making a game. Sometimes you just want to make something that is pure and simple. And this is definitely one of those moments, or one of those games at least. There's that other game, there's an iOS game called Hook Champ that also has a very similar feeling to it. Not a similar feeling, but like a similar design motif, like I don't know, I'm having trouble describing it, I guess, but like the way it's frantic and it's fast-paced and its simple core design is just to go. You know, when your core design is just go, everything else sort of falls into place after that, because there's not much you have to really worry about. I mean, the player doesn't have to figure stuff out. It takes so much of the guesswork out of explaining how to play something, it just is what it is. And when the controls are as simple as just move, like, you can't ask for much simpler than that. You could hand this to just about anyone and they would figure out how to play it almost immediately. The only thing that I guess they would be confused about is, like, do these monsters give you something, or, like, is there a reason for them? Sometimes people tend to read into stuff too much, too, so I don't know. But, I don't know, I think anyone who's played a few games in their life would probably have zero problem figuring out how to do this instantly. Just hand them a controller, they'd be like, oh, what do I do? Oh, that thing ran me over? Okay, run away from it. Done. The entire tutorialization moment has been erased from being an issue or a need. And I think as far as game design goes, that's a cool thing to have. Nom nom nom. Oh, those things are so annoying. And to the dev, if you do decide to take my advice and make a mode where you can see further, or like alternate stuff, it might be cool to see what would happen if you just remove all the enemies completely as well. You know, just as an option. Like, how far can you go? Things chasing you, no enemies, no spikes. See as far as you want. Just run away. You could have the bats or whatever, because they're more like ambience than anything. Also curious, like, how this generates these areas, because it seems like it's fairly complex. I mean, I rarely run into an area that I expect, like, that I know what's gonna come. It's almost always a surprise to some degree. And I do really like the scoring system. I think that's really well done as well. Especially the fact that you can see your high score visually when you get to it, you know, a la tower climb. That seems to be a thing lately. Like, a lot of games are doing this endurance run thing, which I really like. I actually was sort of hoping for more games like that years ago, where it's just like it goes on forever or as long as you can go. I mean, how can you really go wrong? I mean, infinite replayability then, and then when you add in the leaderboard element, the addiction thing just really adds up fast. I'm getting lucky. These rooms are leading to each other pretty quickly and well. Sometimes you just get in a groove. You're like, hey, these rooms are just going the way that I was going to go anyway. Oh, that would be a problem. How many more times am I going to play this? I can't stop. So addictive. Seriously. If you follow the link at the bottom of in the description, be prepared. Nom nom nom. Go away. Yeah, you should seriously, like, make sure you have ample time to play this if you start, because you're not gonna just jump off. Well, I doubt you are anyway. You can prove me wrong. Maybe this isn't like a can of Pringles to you. Oh my god, that thing is brutal. I didn't even have a chance with that thing. It just drove me right into the freaking wall. I really wanted to just get a high score here, and that was going to be my aspiration for this episode. I don't see it happening, really, but I keep trying. My goal was to say, hey guys, look what I did in the episode, and then you can all compete with me and try and beat my score when you actually watch this. I thought that would be kind of funny. Another thing that's really subtle that I don't know, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say they probably did this on purpose, but the visual cue of having those red carpets in nearly every room is an invaluable tool when it comes to the player pathfinding. Those red carpets are totally like your peripheral vision cue to go, hey, I need to go that way. You know, sort of like the color red in Mirror's Edge, same sort of feeling behind it. If that was just a coincidence and the developer was actually just decorating the rooms, then props. You got that one right, for sure, even if it was unintentional. But if it was intentional, then double props for good game design and thinking in a way that a lot of people don't seem to think anymore, which is from the perspective of the player in sort of subtle psychological ways. And you know, even though I was saying like that sometimes the random generation can screw you, like sometimes it actually can be really useful. And amazingly, oh wow, okay, I'm still in, I'm still going. Amazingly, I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm caught up now. I think I made the high scores. I think I did it. Keep going, man, keep going, you got this. Keep going. I feel like I'm running for the touchdown. I'm totally on the high scores now. Oh man, time to beat 795 meters. With that, we will wrap up this super awesome edition of Indie Impressions. Alright, I'm pretty proud of that. And hopefully you guys are going to see me on the leaderboards there. So I'm certainly going to be submitting that score. And I will do that off camera so that way it doesn't break the recording screen. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to head on over to my website, which is www.indie-impressions.com. Check out all the videos I've done. Like 184 of them, I think, is what this is up to now. We've got 6 months straight of Indie Impressions episodes. Every single day I do another one. And I hope you stick with me and watch even more. And also, if you'd like to, head on over to the Facebook page, facebook.com/indieimpressions. Give a like on that, and then you'll get Indie Impressions showing up on your Facebook feed, so every day you can catch whatever new games there are, and you don't even have to go looking for them. They'll come to you. I think that can be handy. And if you want to request any games, or if you want to leave me, comments, suggestions, tips, tricks, whatever it is, hit me up on @RockLeeSmile on Twitter, or @IndieImpression. If you want to go there and follow @IndieImpression, that's going to be like every day when I upload videos. It's going to aggregate them for you so you can see them in Twitter. That's up to you, but @RockLeeSmile is my personal Twitter account. And it would be super awesome if you want to chat with me about indie games or whatever. I'm totally up for that. And that's going to do it for this episode, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you check it out. Dark Run, links in the description, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. I do one of these every single day, so I'll see you back then. Hope you have a lovely night, guys, and take care. Later.